Hello and welcome to Orbit International Youth Talk Show. Now, this talk show is a youth space and forum where young people get to share their challenges, hopes, aspirations, and dreams. For decades, women have been left behind in the tech industry or the technology industry. According to global statistics from UNESCO, less than 30% of women dominate in the tech industry. And fortunately, we have an amazing woman who has realized that there's a serious gap within Zimbabwe and women need to get more involved in tech. And actually, it gets worse as we come to sub-Saharan Africa and in Zimbabwe that women are not involved in the tech industry. And we're with Rumbidzayi Mlambo, a young lady who is doing amazing work in the rural areas, teaching girls how to code, creating, labs and technological centers where young people can get to learn about technology. Welcome, Rumbi.
Thank you.
How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well, thank you.
I know you have such a busy schedule, girl. Thank you so much.
Not really. I'll always make time for you guys.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Rumbi, reading your profile. You studied biochemistry.
Yes, I did.
And then you went on to study intellectual property.
Yes.
Where does technology come in all of this?
Okay, so basically for me, I did start out in the science field. And as I was working there, I realized that there were a lot of challenges, especially locally, because people were so demotivated,
Yeah.
I remember at college, we used to be called the Bachelor of Serious Confusion, the BSc, the sciences, because we would work so hard, we never had a free day. We'd work until 6 or 7 doing practicals, lab work. And at the end of the day, they were like, after you guys complete college, you go and work as teachers and there's hardly any employment for scientists locally.
Yes.
So that got me thinking and I was like, okay, why is it like that? Why is it that scientists, engineers are not making money in Zimbabwe, yet globally there's a demand, right?
Yes.
So as I was doing my investigations, I realized that, in order for you to make money out of science or technology, you have to have intellectual property. So you have to make innovative stuff,
Yes.
you protect it, you get exclusive rights, and then you commercialize. And that way you make millions and billions of dollars. And then, of course, I was inspired by what was going on in the Silicon Valley. And that's when I realized that, okay, there's this whole aspect of intellectual property.
Yes.
And it has a lot of impact in the scientific, engineering, and technology space. So then I decided to say, okay, let me just go ahead and study intellectual property and let me see where I go from there.
It's interesting, not a lot of people actually take intellectual property serious and they don't understand the process of actually protecting what you would have created. And we need more of that as Zimbabweans because we have Zimbabweans who are creating things, but they don't know what to do with those things, young people.
Exactly.
Let's go on to what you were saying about Silicon Valley.
Yes.
That was, I can imagine that was such an amazing experience for you.
Okay.
You worked for a huge IT, firm called Juniper, and it's a multi-million company. Tell me your experience there.
Okay, yes. So as I said early in my career, I was inspired by the Silicon Valley, and I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna go there. I want to go see what's going on there. So when I went there for an internship program, I was so amazed by the simplicity of it all. By, when we're here, we think it's so complicated. It's so, but it's so simple. The people there are simple. And the one thing that I realized that they prioritize passion.
Okay.
What are you passionate about?
Yes.
And if you're passionate about it, what are you going to do about it? They don't care about your qualifications. They don't care about your background. And for me, that was an eye-opener because I've always thought it's about my education, it's about that degree, it's about that certificate. I met engineers in that multi-billion-dollar company who had no degree at all.
Are you serious?
Because they're passionate about coding or about programming or about hardware or whatever it is that they're doing, they start learning and teaching themselves. And at the end of the day, what matters is the output, is the product, what you can do, what can you do for me?
Exactly.
And I remember, because it was a leadership sort of development program, we also had to sit with different managers and executives from within the company. And the head of, their human resources program was like, we don't even really look at the CV that much. We look at your letter.
Yes.
Because when you're writing, you're expressing yourself.
Exactly.
And then we kind of like put that away. Of course, we will look at what you have and all that, but they say I throw away the CV during my interviews. I don't look at it. I talk to you. What are you passionate about?
Yes.
What's your ultimate goal in life?
Yes.
And then I see whether the company can help you achieve that. And if it can, then we can work together, because you'll put 10 times more effort because you know it's going to take you towards that lifetime or goal that you want to achieve in life. Okay. So I was just so amazed by that. And I also this was a hardware company. And for me, I was scared because I was like, I did biochemistry. And at that point, I knew nothing about coding or programming. And then I met one of their heads, the head of their technical services, who's got a degree in chemistry, and I was like, "But how come?" They're like, "Here it doesn't matter. You know, it's about you, what you can offer, what you can do," and yeah, so that really transformed how I see things and how I do things, and that's how we got to even do Tech Women in Zimbabwe, because I saw that at any age, at any stage, you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting how you say, you know, the simplicity of everything back there. Do you think we take things seriously back here and we really like focus? Education is important.
Of course it is.
Correct?
Yes.
But are you saying we're not looking beyond education, and even if a person who doesn't have a degree but they have a passion and they want to learn, we don't look at that? Yes,
I think that's one of the key challenges in our community, in our society. And you see, it tells a story itself, because look at where we are in the economy. We have people with papers who are not passionate, who are not working 10 times harder, who are so confused. And I'll tell you, even for my undergrad degree, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I went to university. I was good in sciences, I was good in school, and no one in my family had done sciences, so they were just like, okay, whatever you want. So there was no guidance, and it was obvious, just either do medicine or whatever. But then of course for me, I never wanted to see blood, so I knew from the start that I didn't want. And then I just said, let me do what the university offers me, and that's how I did it. And there was no guidance. So at the end of the day, there are so many people like that. So you did what you did just because somebody said do it, or just because that's what's available. And at the end of the day, when you're executing in your workplace, you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. You want to survive. And so then your performance is not the same. But if you take someone like, I think one of the things that one of the directors of the HR program was telling me was, if I take someone who did chemistry into IT, because they feel like they're lacking somewhere, they will work 10 times harder. They will put in the hours. They will do everything, and they will try to please. And so the kind of like output that you get from that person is different from someone within IT. So even for their innovation programs, when they're brainstorming for a new product or a new, something new, they'll take a doctor, a teacher, even if this is hardware, they'll take a diverse group of people, sit them in a room, and then say, okay, this is the problem that we have. How do you think we can solve it?
Because they all have something to bring to the table.
Exactly. And that was so like, okay. And
it's eye-opening.
And that's how their products are so unique, and they are relevant to everyone. Everyone can adopt that product because it has input from a diverse range of people. So there were so many things that I was like, okay. This is so interesting.
Well, after this short break, we'll continue with Rumbi as we talk more about STEM subjects. When we're talking about STEM subjects, we're talking about the sciences and the physics, and why a lot of young ladies are not taking those up. What's happening? And we're also going to talk about how she initiated bringing big IT firms like Twitter, Mozilla, Symantec, and Juniper to the country. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the show. Now, just before the break, we're with Rumbidzayi Mlambo, who is the founder of Women Tech Zimbabwe, an NGO that has realized that we have a few young women within Zimbabwe that are actually, taking up technology as a profession or as a career. And she's here to promote it and say, listen, it's okay. And right now we'll be talking about why a few ladies are still not taking up STEM subjects, and we're also going to talk about the initiatives that she's been up to. Welcome back, Rumbi.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Rumbi, it's interesting how, STEM subjects are being promoted all over Zimbabwe, but we still have a few young ladies who are taking, those subjects. Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, actually said something interesting, that if a girl is told just before she gets into a math exam that she's good, she passes. But if they're told that they're not good, they will not succeed. So tell me more about that. What is happening? What's the challenge?
Okay, so I think for us, I'll tell you of an experience before I get into the stats and all that.
Yes.
Of one experience that we had when we started Tech Women. So we started the Technovation Challenge, which is an app development competition for girls all over the world. So when we started, we got girls in, and then we set them up. When we started doing the program, we're trying to do the technical aspect of the program, like teaching them how to code. And you know what they were saying? They were like, no, why don't you bring boys? This is difficult. What?
Crazy.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, are we going to do this? And then after that, we started talking about the program itself. We're like, okay, you need to identify a problem in the community.
Okay.
And then you need to then solve that problem using an application. So then we started the whole discussion. What problems are you guys facing? And women, we are passionate people, I think. And we socialize differently from guys. So we realized that after we started talking about the problems and then linking that to technology, oh my gosh, it was so amazing.
Mind-blowing.
And the girls would work even until 6. They didn't want to go home. It was exciting because they had this passion that, we want to solve this problem.
Okay.
And everything changed. So we then learned again about this whole socialization. And then it takes us back to what is said about the women in technology.
Yes.
So of course, like you said, it's I think right now uptake globally is, I think it's around 29%. And when we looked at the statistics locally, because we did a study with UNDP in terms of the status of women in technology in Zimbabwe, and we went to look at the statistics at Zimstat in terms of the girls, and in primary school it's the same, equal number of boys and girls, and junior high school. And then of course when we start going Form 3, Form 4, the girls start declining, obviously at times due to some issues such as early childhood marriages, and then they prioritize boys over girls if there's in terms of finances. But then what we did realize though is that in terms of statistics at O level, the girls are doing well in terms of mathematics, physics, and chemistry. And I think when we're looking at the 2015 statistics at that time, and the girls actually outperformed by far the boys in physics. And they were the same in maths and all other science subjects. And then when we went to A level, we realized that there were very few girls taking up the subject. And then we're like, but what's the problem?
Exactly.
It's not like they're dull. It's not like they can't do it.
Because they managed to pass their
Exactly. They managed to pass, and they're doing it so well. And then we did a community survey in some of the high density areas and a few rural communities to see what exactly are the challenges. And what we found was just so amazing. It's the influence, the social situation where we're asking parents, what career paths would you choose for your daughters, and what would you choose for the boys? And like almost like I think for the girls 86% wanted them to be nurses, and for the boys it was almost like 100% wanted them to be engineers and all that. And when we said do you think your daughter would do well in maths, I think only 60% said yes, and the 100% of all the parents that we interviewed said being a stay-at-home mom is an option for their daughter, an option that they wouldn't mind
in this day and
in
age.
this day and age. So it's the social issues that are actually affecting girls. And like I told you, women, we are very emotional. We are, and it's all about the inner side.
Exactly.
And so when people are telling you can't do it, or this is not an option, or this is what's best for you, obviously that's going to affect your choices. And again, women are not so mobile. Boys can do a lot of things. They can go around and do a lot of other things. For a girl, you have to be at home. You have to be doing your chores. So guys go out there, they see different things. They can even go and even experience technology, even if they don't have it at home, because of their friends and what's going around in the community. So even if you put a community center for technology with computers, very few chances that girls are going to come because they're at home. And we also experience this again at Tech Women, because when we're doing the programs, we're working with schools, right? So during the term, everything was okay. The schools would bring the kids with buses and all that. During the holidays, they had to come on their own. And instead of starting at maybe 8 or 9, we would start later on in the day. And I remember we sat down with some of the girls, they were coming from Mbari, and we're like, why are you guys always late? And I think there's one girl who even made us even cry. You know, me and my co-founder, Aretha, we sat back, we had to go back and cry, because she'll tell you, this girl was so tiny. I think Form 1, Form 2. Then she'll tell you, I have to do the laundry, I have to clean the house, and I'm staying with, you know, my nini, so there's a baby, you know, the things that she told us made us like, oh my gosh, really?
You know, it's interesting, Rumbi, we talk about there's a lot of stereotyping within the community, and you are trying to bridge that gap and say that girls can also do it as much as guys. Let's talk about the wage gap. You know, because I understand that men within the tech industry are making so much money, and we don't understand that as women, that we can be making as much. How does that affect us as women?
I think it also affects, you know, I think there's this challenge that women that do get into tech, they don't stay in tech. And these are some of the challenges, because they don't get equally paid. Because I think normally people would actually expect a men to do more, or, you know, they think men do better than women in technology, so they are prepared to pay them more. And that also discourages women. So you'll find out even internationally, women would stay, who are getting into engineering careers, they'll stay 5, 10 years at most, they leave the careers. They change into something that's not tech, or maybe they even stay at home. So it's really difficult for a lot of women, and I think that has to change.
It has to.
And one of the changes is that women need to start also opening their technology companies. They need to make products and show that they can also do it. And from our experience, we do see that I think one of the challenges why we're still called a developing country, and a lot of countries are still called developing, is because we don't have the voice of women. So when we talk about girls and women doing apps, they'll look at the problems that they're facing. Like, I think so for some of us, the kind of apps that we got were like, okay, we need, you know, an app that is to help, you know, child-headed families, you know, kind of like a crowdfunding. We need something that's going to get women to tell them where the nearest water source is, because there's a lot of water challenges. So already you can see, and when you work with boys, because what we did is we also work with boys, because we decided, okay, these women will go into workplaces with men that still think women can't do it. So let's kind of like bring in the boys here and there. And when you talk to the boys, they don't do anything that is to do with problems that are around them. They want to do something that's technically difficult or that's competing with the, you know, the most popular product on the market. That's how they think. But women are real.
Which means that there is a gap.
There is a gap.
Which means we can reach out, you know, through technology and actually address the community problems.
That is exactly what's missing right now.
That's amazing. Okay, well, after the short break, we'll continue with Rumbi. This is very interesting. And I hope all young girls out there are watching and listening. You can do it, you know. After the short break, we'll continue with Rumbi, and we're talking about her NGO and the impact it's been actually able to make. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the show. Now, just before the break, we were with Rumbidzayi Mlambo, who is the founder of Women Tech Zimbabwe. She is trying to bridge the gap between disadvantaged women and the male counterparts. Can women really get into the technology industry, and can we be successful and stay there? Welcome back, Rumbi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Rumbi, let's talk about Women Tech Zimbabwe, which I believe is phenomenal.
Thank you.
When did you start it?
Okay, so we started in late 2013. Yeah, that's when we started, and we started doing Technovation Challenge, and yeah, we've been growing since then.
Okay, now it's interesting. In 2016, you initiated the bringing in of, you know, experts from Twitter, from Mozilla, from, you know, Symantec and Juniper. Why did you take such a move? Okay, so for me, it was trying to bring in this mentorship and this, you know, looking at female role models that like women actually do well when they have that. So
because I was in the valley, you know, when women meet, we always talk and we make relationships, and there was that gap. And then I just, you know, it wasn't that difficult. I was just like, you know what, can you guys come? You know, it was just that simple. And and that's how it happened. But for me, it was like for us to get female role models who actually can inspire our girls.
And I'm sure it did.
Oh yes, it did.
Yeah.
Because we traveled the country, we had a lot of programs, and some of the girls that even came to those programs ended up going to Silicon Valley in terms of other programs that they're.
That's amazing.
Yes, there are lots of opportunities that we don't see around us.
Yes.
But there are lots of them. Yeah. So some of the girls actually ended up there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about some of your amazing programs, such as the Her Code Fellowship program and the Geek Lab. Tell me a little bit more about those.
Okay, so with Her Code, what we decided is, I think it was from experience as well.
Yeah.
We said, okay, we have these programs where kids are building apps and we want to get them onto the market. And as we're trying to get into the market to get them commercialized, okay, so we realized that there were challenges in the market because some people were getting, we're outsourcing to India, and some of them would do a shoji job. So we're like, so why don't we get girls to actually build these products at the same level as we get in the international community? So that's how we started up with Her Code. So what we were doing is taking female graduates that have done software, IT, computers, or that are just passionate about it, and then getting them, state-of-the-art skills. And then they then start to build products for other women in business. You know, they want apps for their businesses and all that, so that we get, high quality products, but being led by women.
Okay, you know what? It's interesting, Rumbi. I was at a workshop some time before, and we were trying to send some sort of information to the women. And I was like, just please raise your hands, all those that have email, so I can send you the details. And none of them had email. And I was shocked. Yeah. Because it's like they're scared of technology.
Even the female executives, they've got all these gadgets. But I'll tell you, when we go out there for different programs, you'll find them. Can you, my son is the one who knows how to do this. Can you help me take a photo? Can you help me with, and you're just like, you've got all these gadgets, you don't even know how to use them. And how do you then say you're a businesswoman?
So can we say it's ignorance? What is it?
I think it's ignorance and the socialization. They don't think they should know, because this is something that guys do. My son knows how to do this.
Okay.
You know how it is. And I think it goes through the whole circle from the female executives right down to the women in the community. So we have to change that.
Yeah. Rumbi, what's the last thing you'd want to let young people know, or young women know out there?
Okay, so I would like them to know that, nothing is impossible, and no barrier, no difficulty can actually stop you from getting to your goals. It's not about your education, it's not about what people say, but it's about what you can do, what can you bring to the table, and convince people that you can do it, and you will make it. And technology is the place to be in right now, and you don't need qualifications. We've got women who are building products for people overseas while they're at home, seated on their laptop. And they've self-taught themselves. Lots of free platforms available online. Teach yourself and start.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Rumbi, for coming in. I feel like this is one of those very important episodes that we just needed to bring out there. And we wish you all the best. We'll definitely be coming to most of your workshops and just seeing the work that you're doing, man, and learning more about coding. And thank you to all our viewers. Now you can reach us on www.orbit-international.org, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. See you next time.